Welcome to another episode of Talking College Football. JJ Kitchen. We're here on a Tuesday night, and it's been a pretty good night for the Pitt Panthers here tonight as they are officially ranked back in the college football playoff after beating number 16 Georgia Tech. 5 teams from the ACC now ranked in the college football playoff. Pitt comes in at number 22, Georgia Tech behind them at 23. Pretty good overall when you think about it. SMU sitting there in front of them. If I'm not mistaken here, getting the results right now, number 12, Miami, obviously right towards the top. They're very much in place to get that spot. Virginia, number 2 at 18. Then you have number 3, SMU at 21, Pitt at 22, and then Georgia Tech at number 23. So you have 5 teams from the ACC in the college football playoff rankings as we continue to move forward. And when you look at where Pitt is right now as they prepare for a massive football game against the Miami Hurricanes, which I was pretty sure it was going to be close to being a top 10 opponent. Wasn't far off, only a couple spots out at number 12. It's officially playoff football as we go forward here in the month of November. We have one more game to go, and it really sets everything up for the Pitt Panthers. We'll go over everything tonight, a number of different things. I'll be joining a Miami Hurricanes podcast later on this week. That'll certainly be fun to talk about the Pitt Panthers and go on someone else's podcast and have that conversation. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'll make sure I post that to you guys when we do go live, when we have that conversation with a Miami Hurricanes beat writer or podcaster. It'll be a lot of fun. But tonight, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this massive matchup for Pitt. I think that when you look at the University of Miami, I would consider this really almost, really 1B to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a good football team, but this team that we'll be facing here this week is a damn good football team, especially on the defensive side of the football. And guys, before we get into all the stuff here tonight, make sure, one, you hit down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course, the show's free. So pretty simple. Don't be a hoe. Share the show. But before we get into it here, the show is sponsored by Colonial Beer, located 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA 15102. Tremendous people, 2 great Pitt men run it. Alan and Bill are truly 2 of the best. When you walk in there, you have a conversation with them. They're easy to talk to, and they will gladly answer any of your questions when you're in there. Before you head down to the stadium on Saturday, make sure you go stop and see Colonial Beer on Thursday or Friday. Probably on Friday, because now I think Thursday is Thanksgiving. So probably get your way down there on Friday. Have your beers, lighter lagers, seltzers. They got everything you want there. Place is massive, plenty of different selections. That's why I make sure I go there, and anybody that we have anybody coming to the tailgate, they go there because it's a one-stop shop. Easy to talk to people. They're always there to help you. Make sure you go see Colonial Beer, located at 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA 15102. The show is also sponsored by Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson. Call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Brian Thompson is truly one of the best. Again, you guys have met him. You guys ask about him all the time. He truly is one of the best individuals out there. And unlike the larger law firms, Brian cares about you, the individual, and is relationship-based. He cares about your issues and your problems and making sure you get the right solution that you're looking for. He'll guide you through the process from beginning to end and get you the results that you need. If he doesn't have the answers for you, he'll make sure he guides you through the process and gets you in front of somebody who does have those answers. Brian truly has a great family, comes from a great family, and does a tremendous amount of work in the community, especially when it comes to volunteer work. Make sure you guys go ahead and give a shout out and go see Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson. If you're looking for an attorney, call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Last but not least, the K Collection, the coffee brand by Austin Kitchen. Again, the AK Espresso. This is personally my favorite. Again, never was a coffee guy. This really got me into being a coffee guy because all I need is one of these things a day, and I'm ready to go, especially at my office where I have everything stored there. Got people on it. They're ready to go. They certainly love it. Make sure you get yours today. A number of different selections. This is what the bag looks like. Again, the backwards K Collection. And again, it's Austin Kitchen, hometown hero from Mount Lebanon High School. Coastal Carolina, Chanticleer, national champion, and now in the Seattle Mariners organization. If it can support and help and prepare a professional athlete, it can certainly help me and you. Make sure you guys go to today at the K Collection, the coffee brand by Austin Kitchen at www.thekingscraft.com. Going in here tonight, we'll go through a number of different things, the comments that are certainly on here today. Hit the like button, subscribe. Smash the like button, subscribe. Thank you, WRD Pitt. Don't be a host. Share the show. Amen. Concerned about the kicking with Butowski out indefinitely. That could potentially be a concern. I think with obviously Carpenter, it looked like he was a little bit banged up. We'll continually talk about that here tonight. Let's see here. SMU over Pitt was to save face due to SMU controlling its own destiny. So if they win conference, they can seem higher. Guarantee if Pitt controlled its own destiny, that the resumes would be Pitt higher. Wolf HD potentially, but I mean the good thing is though, I mean regardless, Pitt can really control its own destiny still, in my opinion. They're facing the 12th ranked team in the country in Miami. That's just my opinion. I think it's all on the table right now. And I think that whether, Pitt gets in or not, they'll certainly have a great resume. The one loss will obviously be Notre Dame. I don't think they'll get in at large big because they do have 3 losses. But all Pitt can do right now is just take care of business, and that's winning a game against Miami, a really damn good Miami football team that we'll be talking about here tonight. Super chat coming in. Andy, got my AK Espresso today. Thank you, sir. Truly appreciate that. Let me know, obviously, how it is. Make sure you hit me up. Again, the AK Espresso. This is truly one of my favorites, man. It truly is the best. I'm going to get you going in the morning. One, especially for all the testing that Austin did personally with Major League Baseball to make sure everything is correct with all of their testing. You can imagine, professional baseball, they love to do all the testing in the world. So everything fits it there. Great for your metabolism, great for your energy. That's why personally, I love it. And for me, I drink my coffee just straight. I usually get like an iced Americano or espresso. That's where I go, man. That's what I get. I mean, these things are truly incredible. You make one of these in the morning, you're ready to go, man. So one, truly appreciate it, Andy. And I know Austin watches the show. He's very thankful. And that's pretty awesome. Thank you for getting yours today, guys. If you have not gotten it, make sure you guys get yours today. It's really good. Personally, I mean, I'm not a coffee guy. If I like it, everyone should like it. Let's see here. Henny, any idea on the attendance Saturday? Students on break doesn't help. Yeah, I mean, I would say the majority of people, when you look at these games, I did go on the Pitt site today. The bottom bowl is pretty much sold out. I would expect that. When it comes to the upper deck, I think on the away side will probably be a little bit scarce. I do want to bring this up here today. Also, I do want to bring this up. Pitt is running a special right now for tickets, especially after Thanksgiving. Guys, I suggest you go over to the website now. The email is out today. I think for upgrading tickets, it's like, I mean, they're selling tickets right now for like $20 to $30 to go to this final game against Miami. I would suggest you tell your friends, tell whoever it is. They're running a deal right now. This will probably be the lowest you'll see prices for a Pitt game. I know people were talking about $50 is too high or whatever for a lot of these games beforehand. Pitt's running a deal right now. If you want to go get your tickets, now's the time. Because guess what? I will be there. This will be your last chance to come to see, the Pitt Panthers. Obviously, it's senior day. I suggest, obviously, us going out and supporting our seniors. Thanksgiving, is on Thursday. And again, as everyone is here right now, want to wish every one of you, again, I will do the same thing probably later this week, maybe even go live on Thursday on Thanksgiving. Want to wish each and every one of you a happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to your families, and truly appreciate all of your support for the podcast here. It is certainly growing at a rapid rate because of you guys, and cannot thank you guys enough for your support. But Saturday, I would say you're probably right now, I think for what it looks like right now, between probably 44,000 to 49,000, probably in that range. I think there's still time Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I mean, you'd like to see 50,000 at least. I mean, it is Thanksgiving. People will be out of town, but, hopefully the Panther Pit in the lower portion bowl, obviously that portion area there will be sold out for them. I know it's going to be tough. This time of year is tough, especially with the Thanksgiving break. So we'll see. But guess what? The general public still go to the football games, man. It's playoff football. This is, guys, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it on the podcast, for the rest of this week, on to other podcasts I'll be joining on for Miami. This is a playoff football game. This is what it is. I mean, this is a must-win game. You're facing a top 12 opponent. You're facing a damn good football team in the University of Miami. Miami's facing a damn good football team in the University of Pittsburgh. This is playoff football. This is as big as stakes as you can get. It is that simple. And I'm telling people right now, if you can get to the game, do it, man. support the seniors. They're going to be going all out. They are dialed in. From the number of people I've talked to today, they are certainly dialed in right now. Robert McCarthy, we will be there. Love to see it. Grizz Farmer, let's go Canes. We got a Cane fan in here. Can't wait for this game. Had a feeling before the season the Pitt game was going to be our biggest game of the year. Potentially, hey, it's a massive game right now. Truly appreciate all the Miami fans being in here. I couldn't agree more. Had a feeling that potentially what Pitt could do. I think after the first 4 games, we were 2-2. We didn't know this game was going to be a big game for Pitt, but here we are. I mean, it's for the ACC title. Pitt's got to win this football game to go to the ACC championship. We need a little bit of help. We need Virginia Tech to win, or we need Cal to beat SMU. Regardless, Pitt's got to win this football game. Miami's got to win this football game to get the playoff. This is playoff football. I cannot stress it enough. This is a massive, massive football game here in the city of Pittsburgh, and we need as much support as possible. Let's see here. Ryan H2P, 50,000 is a great crowd. Bummer how it looks optically, having a stadium too big. I'll be there, though. Let's go. Couldn't agree more. Adam Vincic. Okay, Adam Vincic here. Any idea who might come back instead of graduation in the NFL? I thought it was pretty good to see today that Ryan Bayer will not be walking, which tells me he will be coming back next year unless something unforeseen happens where something with a portal. Hopefully not. I think he's a tremendous football player. I think he's a great offensive lineman. We need him back next year, in my opinion. Would like to get him back. Him not walking tells me he should be back. That's a really good thing. Kyle Lewis, from anybody that I've seen or I've talked to, seems to be an early to mid-second round pick. I would expect him to go to the National Football League. I think Rasheem Biles should be back, but it's up in the air. I mean, with him being eligible for the draft, we'll see where he's marked at. Personally, my rule of thumb is very simple. If you're an underclassman and you are second round or higher, second round or first round, you automatically go. If it's a third round, depends on where you are, because if you drop to the fourth round, if you drop to a day 3 pick, it's over. I mean, so I will do a number of evaluations after the season, but pretty excited for it. John Waffle, thank you, sir, for the $20 super chat. If we beat Louisville, we would have already clinched the AC title. But, of course, one of our Narduzzi screw-ups makes the season stressful. Now I have to hear how great UVA is on Thanksgiving from my relatives who went to UVA. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I can tell you this. UVA's got a really important football game here this week. And again, I said it. I tweeted it out here this week. Virginia is in their last 24 games against Virginia Tech. They are 2-22. I mean, that's the one game that I'll be watching after the Pitt game, as long as make sure that Pitt actually wins their football game against a damn good Miami football team. That's the game I'm sure going to be watching. I don't think Cal is going to beat SMU. SMU's probably playing one of the best brands of football right now, and we'll continue to watch it. But it's truly been a really good season for SMU to bounce back on what they've done. But I can tell you this, though, we should have won the Louisville game. We didn't. All we can do is focus on this game and focus on going 9-3, and it's a damn good football team. And I can tell you, this Pitt team is very focused on what they're trying to do this week because they know exactly how good this team is. And guys, just to give you an idea, plenty of notes here. I mean, the amount of notes I got through here that we need to look at here tonight. I mean, it's a good football team, and we're going to go over a bunch of it. John Waffle, thank you, sir, for the $20 super chat. Andy, thank you for getting the espresso, sir. Thank you for your super chat here as well. Again, guys, if you want to get your question up on the screen here tonight, make sure you send a super chat. We'll get it up on the screen. But first up, we're going to get into it here, and it's the Miami versus Pitt preview here. And again, it's a massive week. It's playoff football here in Pittsburgh, and it's the last game of the year. It's senior day. Plenty of people will be coming in from out of town. If you want to see these guys, now is the time to get yours. Again, they're running a promotion on Pitt's site for cheaper tickets in the lower bowl and the upper bowl. Make sure you go to Pitt's site today, get your tickets, or go on StubHub or Ticketmaster. It's all there. Certainly affordable this week because of Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys go and get those. First up, according to ESPN Predictor, according to ESPN, Miami is projected to win this game at 70%. They're only giving Pitt a 30% chance to beat the top 12 team in the country in Miami. Damn good football team. And I think, there's a number of reasons why they're looking at that. Obviously, quarterback Carson Beck out of the University of Georgia transfer has really had himself a good season. He's only had a couple really bad games, and those couple bad games led into a loss, and we'll go into a little bit more of those, especially, too, when you look at Miami's schedule. And I'm actually going to bring up Miami's schedule right here, as a matter of fact. Pull it up here, because obviously there's a number of comments here that I have from the game tape that I've already watched from last week at Virginia Tech, which seemed to be a closer game till the end of the game. Virginia Tech tried hanging on for dear life. The game was never in danger. I mean, Miami was taking care of business pretty well in the Commonwealth of State of Virginia. Let's see Miami's schedule. Did watch the Louisville game again. Again, Jeff Brom just finds ways because he's won. I think Jeff Brom's a pretty damn good football coach, quarterback whisperer, in my opinion. Has just done a really good job this year. Looking at Miami's schedule again, we talked about here. Miami's projected to win, by 70% win ratio according to ESPN Predictor. You look at the schedule here, and we'll go over here. I actually may share my screen with you guys here if I really need to. I think I am going to share it with you guys. Brian Thompson here. Thank you, sir, for the $5 super chat. There's a lot of pressure on Miami. Winning isn't enough. They need to make a statement because they may take some risks early. I agree. There is a lot of pressure on Miami, but I think that this football team down south, I mean, they seem to be ready for this game. Anybody that I talk to, they are pretty dialed into this football game. But, yeah, Miami has to win this game and win it big. But also what helps Miami a lot is that Pitt is ranked 22nd in the country. If they win this game, they have a ranked win. Even if they don't make the AC championship game, Miami will go to the playoff. If Miami, and that's my opinion, I've said it before, I think that's how good of a football team Miami is. If Miami wins this game, and especially big, they're going to the college football playoff. That's my opinion. Thank you, Brian, for the $5 super chat here, sir. Thank you. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen with you guys here to go over the schedule of what Miami has done to this point. Again, damn good football team that we're looking at here. The schedule is up on the screen as we speak. First game of the year, you can imagine. And again, I've said it before. I think they should be ranked higher. People can say the two losses they have. I mean, Notre Dame has 2 losses as well, and Miami Miami had a head-to-head win against Notre Dame. It's that simple. Miami won the first game of the year 27-24 over Notre Dame, then beat Bethune-Cookman 45-3. Beat their one of their in-state teams, South Florida, a former Big East team, 49-12. Then they go back here at home. They beat Florida, their rival Florida, out of the SEC, 26-7. Astounding. I mean, pretty much an easy win for them. Then Miami goes on the road to Florida State. Miami beats Florida State 28-22. This is where they had a slip-up, their first slip-up of the year against Louisville, 24-21. That game was even at home, which was pretty crazy to think about. That game was at home. They go back on the road, win 42-7 over a Stanford football team that is certainly struggling. SMU, who's really playing, I think potentially probably the best brand of football within the ACC. I mean, you look at these top 3 teams right now. You've got Miami, Pitt, and SMU. I think those out of the 3, SMU is just clicking on all cylinders right now. SMU won that game in overtime, 26-20 in Dallas-Fort Worth. They go back home after that. Obviously, beat up on Syracuse 38-10, and then this past week, not this past week, one more game here. Miami, they beat up on NC State 41-7, and then Miami ends up beating 34-17 Virginia Tech football team that is struggling, but we certainly need Virginia Tech to find a way to beat the Virginia Cavaliers in Charlottesville this week to help out the Pitt Panthers. But that is their schedule. They've done a good job. There are 2 slip-ups. Louisville, who I particularly think is a good football team. They had a full roster at that point. Miller Moss was there at the time, where Miller Moss didn't play last week. Louisville lost. Good football team. And, same thing with SMU. They're also a good football team the way they're playing right now. So they lost to 2 good teams. That, in my opinion, that's really what it came down to at this point. Lost to 2 good teams, but they're currently sitting at 9-2, currently looking to try to go to 10-2 to get to the playoff. But they've done a good job in those couple slip-ups that we've seen. There's a number of different things when you watch the tape, and I've watched both those games. I'll go back and watch them again, but there's a couple things that really stand out, and we'll go over those things here today. Again, quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes, Carson Beck, again, a transfer from Georgia, was a big-time transfer from the previous year. I would suggest more than likely that they will do it again. This offseason. They'll go after another quarterback. They'll try to add another quarterback from the portal again. It would not shock me to see them do that because, one, they've been very in tune with going to the portal. They got the money for it. Makes a lot of sense. The running back position, Gerard Pringle Jr. has done a good job to this point. We look at a couple things from last week. Got their schedule up here with Virginia Tech. If we go over, look at some of the game leaders. Carson Beck in this football game, again, a guy that didn't really get a lot of pressure in this football game. He really was able to drop back and make a lot of good throws. Was 27 of 32 for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. Damn good quarterback. Gerard Pringle Jr. was a leading rusher with 14 carries for 49 yards. Also in the running back room that I thought was particularly pretty good was Mark Fletcher. He's got 655 total rushing yards on the year. I think he's actually a pretty damn good running back, so they got a good two-headed monster back there. And the same goes through the wide receiver room here. And the guy that is just, I think that this offense truly runs around, and that is Malachi Toney. Again, just last week alone, 12 receptions, 146 yards, and 1 touchdown. That is going to be one of the keys, and if not the number one factor of if Pitt wants to win this football game, they need to keep him in check and keep an eye on him. I'll be very interested to see who is actually covering him, whether it's Tamon Lynham, Rashad Battle will be out there, but also too potentially Sean Lee or Shadarian Harrison. I think Sean Lee, personally, if it was me, and I had to get a guy on Malachi Toney who is a true freshman, I think our true freshman, Sean Lee Jr., should be the one covering him. I think he's probably the best cornerback we have on the football team, and he's had a hell of a season. And if you go talk to his dad, you go talk to him, they're the one and the same. Competitive as can be, want to win at all costs, and they work their ass off. And I think that Sean Lee is up for that challenge. If it was up to me, I'd be having Sean Lee cover Malachi Toney in this football game because we're going to need someone to make sure that they're on him like white on rice. I can tell you that right now. We'll go into here. A couple other things that are through here. Let's see here. Let's see. We'll go back. Verse. ESPN summary. Go to the box score here because there's a couple other games I wanted to look at because I'll be talking a little bit of notes wise. Some games about how you're able to beat this, this Miami football team, which again is going to be a tough challenge for anybody. But things that really stood out to me. Again, Mark Fletcher Jr., a guy watch out here in terms of running the football. The same thing goes for Gerard Pringle Jr. I really do believe in the wide receiver room. Obviously Malachi Toney Jr. Again, true freshman, the guy that you're mostly going to want to watch in that wide receiver room. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, CJ Daniels should be back this week for Miami. He was the guy who had that one-handed catch in the beginning of the season, that first game of the season against Notre Dame. A damn good wide receiver. One guy that I would personally watch. And then Keelan Marion, another guy that's back there. I think that he's another guy you have to watch in this game. Just to give you an idea, prime example, even a game they lost, the Louisville Cardinals here, they lost 24-21. In that game alone, Malachi Toney had 9 receptions for 135 yards in that game. Again, he's just an absolute freak. CJ Daniels also had 7 receptions for 74 yards. Keelan Marion had 5 receptions for 33 yards. I mean, that's really a three-headed monster right there that I think when you look at the wide receiver room for Miami, those are the guys that you want to watch on offense. Particularly, you look at the offensive line for Miami, they're considered to be one of the top offensive line groups in the country, ranked in the top 10 in most categories, number 1 in the ACC right now. They've done a good job. A couple guys to look at there. Offensive tackle Francis Maguia, I think he's Maguia, I believe so. Probably mispronouncing his name. Center James Brockmeyer, I think really one of the best centers in the league at this point. And also too, offensive tackle Marco Bell, in my opinion, probably one of the top offensive tackles also in the ACC. I think he's done a tremendous job. Those are just 3 of the tackles that you look at on the offensive side of the football. And we're talking about this offensive side of the ball. In my opinion, for Pitt to go above and beyond and to have that opportunity to slow them down, you look at Miami, they're a balanced attack. They love to be a balanced attack. If they can be one-dimensional, I think you can really create some opportunities where they make some mistakes. A lot like the Louisville game, okay? In the Louisville game, Carson Beck was 25 of 35 for 271 yards, had 0 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Those 4 interceptions occurred because, one, you were able to get pressure on the quarterback. In that game also, they had as a team 24 rushing attempts for 63 yards. But if you look at the 3 running backs here that they have, even Jordan Lyle, if you add him in there, 30, 33, 43, 47 yards. They had 47 yards rushing in that football game. If you're able to stop the run, number one, stop the run against Miami, I think that Pitt can make them one-dimensional, and you really make this a football game of who's going to be able to make the most completions in this game, and then you dial into where you focus on Malachi Toney, who, again, damn good wide receiver. Now you have to also deal with C.J. Daniels, who I think is back and should be ready to go. He should be 110% going into this game as well. But number one, what Pitt's defense is really focused on the most, you got to stop the run. You got to stop the run first and then worry about the pass. Again, if you can stop the run, make them one-dimensional, you got a shot. And then after that, you got to be able to stop Malachi Toney. You have to. That is really the number one thing that, I look at. If you can stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and then have a focus on creating pressure on the quarterback, which is not going to be an easy thing for Pitt because, one, Miami's offensive line is pretty damn good, in my opinion. I think that, one, Pitt's defensive line has done a really good job of getting better. I think Isaiah Neal going to the outside at defensive end has been spectacular for him in his career. I think he's actually a better defensive end than D-tackle, which is crazy to think about because he just started there. Joey Zielinski back 100%. Blaine Spires back. That's a huge thing. Jimmy Scott, I think that's massive. I think we could potentially see Jaden Moore back 100% this week. So, you want to see our defensive ends really get after it. You also want to see, I think, who's done a really good job and really did a good job in the Notre Dame game, who really showed out, who continues to get better every week, just playing big boy football. Francis Brayu in the middle. I think that's a massive factor moving forward. You'd like to see Sean Fitzsimmons get back this week. I think he's still going to be questionable, potentially even maybe out early on in the when we get the Thursday report on Thanksgiving. That'll be something to watch. But if we don't have Sean Fitzsimmons again, Francis Brayu, Nick James, Jasir Whittington. Jasir Whittington still focusing on being in his particular order to where he's able to stay in the right area, stay in his gap assignment, making sure he's not doing too much. Just do your job, and you'll be successful. But you look at Pitt's defensive line over the last 3 weeks, it has gotten certainly better and being able to create pressure. We also saw it against Georgia Tech last week where Pitt's defensive line really took over at one point to where they were just getting to Haynes King frequently and often. I mean, it was that simple. So you want to be able to see that consistently as the game goes on. You want to be able to make them one-dimensional, stop the run, make them throw the football. And if you can create pressure on Carson Beck, you got yourself a really good chance to win this football game, a lot like what SMU and Louisville did in those 2 losses, which allowed them to go up there and be really competitive in that football game. Again, a lot of talent on that offensive side of the football for Miami, but I think when you look at Pitt's defense, it matches up pretty well. Rasheem Biles, obviously 110%. Braden Lovelace comes off of probably his best game in his career. The amount of tackles he had in that game, plus the return touchdown, 102 yards for an interception return. I think we match up very well with our linebacking crew because of, one, how aggressive they are, how physical they are, but more importantly, the speed. Pitt has speed in the linebacker room. You have your 3 starters, but then on top of that, you have Cam Lindsey, Abe Ibrahim. I think those are 2 massive guys that are in there, and hopefully this week potentially getting Nick Lappy back as well. So you got depth at the linebacker position, and then also too, Cruz Brookins is back. I mean, that's the massive factor on the back end. You got Javon McIntyre, playing his last game at Acrisure Stadium. You'd love to be able to go out there and support him. His last game at Acrisure Stadium before he graduates. Then you got Cruz Brookins back there. And then you got Sean Lee, Tamon Lynham, Rashad Battle, Shadarian Harrison. You got your 4 corners right there who are truly aggressive and can be able to play at a high level. I like our matchups on defense with their offense. That's my personal opinion. I think that's where the game could be potentially had. Pitt's defense has to play at a high level like they have been, being able to consistently stop the run like they have really all year, besides one run against, Notre Dame where Jeremiah Love ran for, a 60-yard touchdown. They really held them in check for the majority of that game. You saw it last week where Pitt did a phenomenal job, really through the first 2.5, 3 quarters of just being dominant in the football game. Even got up to 28-0, in the second quarter. That's a massive factor moving forward if you want to win this football game. Now, when it gets to the other side of the football, this is where it gets a little stingy. This Miami defense is predicated and it's built up front. It is built from the front up, and this defensive line is mean, aggressive, fast, physical. You look and you watch the tape, look at the inside, especially just, in my opinion, this is the best defensive line in the ACC, and I think they're top 10, if not top 5 in the country for how well they play cohesively as a unit. Just a couple of guys here to look at here. I got a couple names on here. Oh, yeah, edge rusher. I think the number one guy, defensive end, Ruben Bain Jr. Go watch the film on this kid. Physical at the point of attack. He's got great violence with his hands. He's able to get around offensive tackles. He's very quick. It's going to be a challenge this week. Our offensive line. If you want to, if the offensive line wants to shut some people up, and they want to shut some people up, this is the week to do it, because this defensive line they're facing this week is pretty damn good. I think they're ready for the challenge. I think Jeff Percy being back is a massive factor for Pitt. We saw the aggressiveness out of him and how well of a blocker he is in the run game, but even in the passing game, some consistency. And then you saw Kendall Stanley move to guard. I think Kendall Stanley is much more served at the guard position because we saw so much more efficiency out of Kendall Stanley at the guard position because he is athletic, and especially in the run game, and being so much more consistent in the passing game. So I'm excited about that in these matchups this week. But Ruben Bain Jr. is their number one defensive end, in my opinion, when you watch it. On the other side, okay, a player that Pitt originally recruited out of Canada, was committed, ended up going to West Virginia for a year. He felt unsafe because, obviously, Morgantown, West Virginia, not a great place to be. He ends up leaving Morgantown, goes to Miami, and it's Hakeem Mesidor. This kid has truly turned into the player that we really would have thought he would have been at Pitt. Charlie Partridge loved this kid, recruited him extremely hard, wanted him really badly. Just a really damn good football player. Hakeem Mesidor at defensive end. So really, on the other side, you got Ruben Bain Jr. and Hakeem Mesidor on both sides, defensive end room. That's a massive factor. And we'll talk about what we need to do on offense to be successful, but those are the two guys on defensive end side that you got to look at yourself and say, okay, those are two damn good football players. But then it's not done there. Then you get to the defensive tackle room. Ahmad Moten Sr., if I have his name down correctly here. I'll go into a couple of names here. I might have just wrote it down correctly. Ahmad Moten Sr., yeah. So damn good at the defensive tackle position. He is a guy that I think is extremely fast. Go watch the Virginia Tech tape. Go watch the Louisville tape. Go watch the SMU tape. Go watch the Notre Dame tape. This kid is a freak, and I think he's that good of a football player. And the same thing goes for David Blay. Another guy you look at, I think that up front, even on the inside, I think the main playmakers on the outside, a defensive end position, but these two guys in the middle, how fast they are. Go watch just some of the tape you watched on the Virginia Tech game. You couldn't even put the hands on them to block them. That's how fast they were moving up front. It's truly been incredible. Some other names I have down here as well. Muhammad Tori, damn good football player. Zachariah Poyser, really good. Keontae Scott, he's been a really good football player for this team. I think this would be a guy to watch as well going forward. It's a damn good football team. That is my honest opinion. It is a team that's really good. Keontae Scott, he's a perfect example. He's a senior. He's done a really good job, defensive back. Really good football player. Got notes here on him. You watch him. Go watch a little bit of tape and how well he plays. Keontae Scott will probably be on Kenny Johnson. That's how good of a player I think he is, and he's going to probably match up with our number one wide receiver. Zachariah Poyser, again, another defensive back. He's a sophomore, younger guy. Again, I probably going to cover up on Raphael Poppy Williams. He can play outside or inside and cover. That's how aggressive and really physical at the point of attack he is. But also just athletic, how athletic he is. I think he can do a good job there. And then Muhammad Tori, that's just their middle linebacker. And again, senior, a veteran guy there, really big guy, 6'2", 236, really good football player. For Pitt to really be successful in this game, I think the keys for them to be successful and what they learned, in my opinion, against Notre Dame. The offensive line is going to have a challenge in itself. I think for Pitt to be successful, you have to get the short and intermediate passing game going. You need to understand when we go out 5 wide, whether it's 3 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, or 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end, or you will go out there 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 wide receiver. You put out wide Ja'Kirian Boozy Turner. If Desmond Reed's able to go, that's going to be a question mark. Joel's Goff. When you're empty set, we see a lot of times, especially coming off the edge, pressures off the edge, one-on-one battles with the 5 offensive linemen. You got to know where your hot routes are, where your hot reads are, understanding where the pressure is coming from. I think Mason Heinchel has been doing a lot better of a job. We saw that this past week against Georgia Tech. He knew exactly where the pressure was coming from. That's from great film study. He has done a good job in that department. I think he continually gets better and better. Notre Dame game for a true freshman was pretty damn good. CJ Carr is a redshirt freshman. He had a whole year to learn. Mason's really learning on the fly, and I thought he did a really good job adjusting from the Notre Dame game where we really struggled on offense to where we did a really good job in the Georgia Tech game and how fast we were really being able to process information and create opportunities down the football field, but not just down the football field in your short to intermediate football game. You want to know where your hot routes are, but also, too, where your check down options are. When the pressure's coming there, you want to be able to find those guys, especially when you're in an empty set. The same thing goes for if you're under pressure. You want to avoid sacks. If you have 3rd and long, 2nd and long, and you're behind the sticks, you're going to be in for a long day on the football field. It's that simple. That's how fast this stuff can really steamroll. You want to make sure that you're not losing yards that you shouldn't be losing to begin with. I think if you take care of business like that and you get it going, I think that's important. Also, too, Ja'Kirian Boozy Turner, get this kid involved early. Don't be shy. I know we're looking at a defensive line. They're mean, they're aggressive. We need to make sure we're not abandoning the run game. We need to be disciplined and where, we're not just putting Mason back there 40 or 50 times this game. He's going to throw about 35, 40 times, but we need to be able to make sure a guy that just ran for over 200 yards, now obviously a little bit of different defense compared to Georgia Tech, going to Miami. But for this kid and how elusive he is and he continues to get better, you want to make sure you stay, two-dimensional, but don't abandon the run. The passing game is certainly going to be there, I think, just because of one, that the talent level, Kenny Johnson, Raphael Poppy Williams, CJ Lee's back again, Deuce Spann. You have all these guys. Blue Hicks. These guys are all there, but you want to be able to make sure you're using the guys correctly and making sure you keep Ja'Kirian Boozy Turner getting his opportunities. And that's the same challenge for the offensive line. The same thing goes for Jordan Holmes, Jake Overman. Those 2 guys, I think, will be massive factors moving forward. The same thing goes for Malachi Thomas. Your 3 tight ends, you want them to be aggressive. You want them to be aggressive in the blocking game and in the pass game, being able to go up there and grab the football. If you're able to create these opportunities where the short game's going, with their bringing pressure, how do we adjust? And that's what it comes down to. Is Cade Bell and this offense able to adjust to how fast and how much pressure the Miami defense is going to bring? Because they're going to be bringing pressure. They're going to bring 4 to 6 men pressure. I think in the beginning of the football game, they may try off the bat, bringing 4 to 5 layers of pressure, depending upon what they have there. But they want to see what kind of pressure they can get, which is a 4-man rush, because the less guys you blitz, the less pressure it is on your defense. They're going to try to win this game with 4-man pressure because, one, their defensive line is that good. The question is our offensive line up for the challenge? I think that you look over these past couple weeks, you've seen a little couple hiccups every once in a while in these games, but you saw those first 2, really 3 quarters. Offensive line looked pretty damn good, especially with Percy back. Kendall Stanley moving to left guard. It's a big factor. And I think that, again, if they're able to make those adjustments, they can certainly have themselves a hell of a ball game. Justin Scott also had on here Armando Blunt, another 2 names that are back there, especially 2 on the defensive line. 2 guys that are in reserve, Justin Scott and Armando Blunt. 2 guys I think are really good in their reserve periods. Damari Brown, really good at the DB position. The same thing there as well. Let's see here. Again, another thing. Both of these teams are highly penalized. Highly penalized. If Pitt can stay disciplined on this game and this day, if they keep it under 6 penalties, Pitt has a really good chance to win this football game. That is my opinion. If they can stay disciplined, there's going to be a lot of trash talking. There always is a lot of trash talking between Pitt and Miami. It just always is. They're very competitive guys, very competitive football teams, but this is playoff football. I cannot stress this enough. And this is going to be the one thing you take from this show. This is playoff football. Every inch matters. Every decision you make matters. Every penalty matters. Because if you lose this football game, it's over. It's over. You're not going to the AC title game. You're not going to the playoff. It's on both sides of the football. There's a lot of pressure on both of these football teams. And again, it's going to be a damn good day. It's going to be a high of 35 on Saturday. I think during kickoff, it should be like about 28, 29 degrees. We're going to see what these two football teams look like. And it's supposed to be a nice, good day. I'm excited for it. But regardless, these two teams are highly penalized. Which team can go in there and not be as penalized as the other? Who makes the smart decisions, but more importantly, controlled aggression? Who has the most controlled aggression between the whistles? How aggressive can you be from whistle to whistle, knocking the shit out of your guy, but making sure that you're winning the one-on-one battles that you need to win? That's really the big question there. I think it's really all the notes that I had there. Let me see here. I know I'm going a little long here. Again, thank you as always, guys. The super chats here is making sure I'm not missing anything in the super chats here. Andy, John Waffle, got you guys earlier. Brian Thompson. Again, want to get your question up on here for sure. We're going to go through a bunch of them here. I see a ton of comments flowing in here right now, so I just switched over here. I was going on a long rant there, but wanted to go through everything before I give my predictions. Plenty of comments in here. Let's see here. Anything new on Sieg? Right now, in my personal opinion, from everything that I've been in contact with and everything from sources outside the organization, everything else, it's between Pitt and Virginia Tech. I think that decision will be made on signing day. He announced that his time will be decided on December 3rd. I heard some people tweeting out today, that he's retweeting a lot of Virginia Tech stuff. I wouldn't put too much stock into that. I mean, he was just on a visit there. He knows those guys. He's friends with those guys. He was committed to Penn State with all of those guys there. He knows he was in a group chat with all those guys. He's supporting them. I wouldn't put too much sauce into that. Jay Sauce, Boozy is the truth. I agree. Have you seen Pitt's projected bowl game opponent? Not yet, because it doesn't matter. You got to whether you win or lose this game. It'll certainly change to see who they play. Any word on Fitzsimmons? Last time I checked, he was still banged up. I think he may be questionable this week. We may move towards that. This will be a game that he tries to play, I would imagine. We'll continue to go through it. It's only Tuesday, but today was the first day of practice. We'll continue to monitor it, though, for sure. Let's see. Michael, tired of the media heads talking about the high possibility of Heinzel leaving and due to Pitt not being able to afford him from teams looking for the portal. Yeah, I don't understand that either. That is completely not true. We said the same. I heard the same shit last year with Eli Holstein. Eli Holstein got paid $1.9 million, allegedly, through numerous sources. Mason Heinzel is going to get paid. And there's a big difference, and especially, too, Mason is a guy who understands where he wants to be, and they love Pitt. His family loves Pitt. I don't see him going anywhere unless something crazy happens during the offseason that we lose coaches or people retire. Who knows? But I, right now, 110% expect Mason Heinzel to be back. I mean, it is that simple, especially in this offense. Even if it wasn't even something remotely to this, it's 100% the job. I mean, that's honestly my opinion. Mason will be back. And again, he loves Pitt, very loyal guy. And it's funny, too, it's the media talking heads that just have no idea what the hell they're talking about. I mean, we spent a lot of money on this roster this year alone. Well into 8 figures in terms of what this team costs. I mean, I just don't listen to it. Forget the national media. Our media markets here, I mean, you listen to 93.7 The Fan. The only one that has any knowledge is Doran Dickerson, and then Bob Pompiani. Bob Pompiani's really good. But the rest of them, like, Filipponi and all these guys, all they know when they talk about Pitt, they don't watch any of these games. They don't know any of these players. They know Mason, he's a quarterback. But they talk about, the Pitt Stadium, Acrisure Stadium, and the field surface, and quarterbacks. That's it. I don't put any stock into what they're saying. I'm very much in tune to what goes on. I am not, right now, I'm not concerned at all. If anything, I think it's pretty much we're almost to that point where things are locked up because they know we want him here. It's that simple. And he's a loyal guy. Also, too, he could have gone to Michigan the first time around. He stuck with Pitt and he talked about loyalty, and they're going to pay him here. It's that simple. I'm not worried about that stuff. The media here, again, and I had a conversation with some people about that before. Get itch my ear here. I had a conversation about this, over the weekend with a couple people. I got to meet at the gym, but also too, just in my passing of being able to go around with a couple other clients that I was with who was asking me about a lot of stuff with Pitt, which, again, in person, I'm much more candid. I'm very honest on this, on my podcast here, because, there is no bullshit here. I'm very confident in it. Pitt is doing what it needs to do. And that also brings me to another thing too. The Pitt basketball team. I'm not going to go on a huge thing. Maybe I'll do another show about this, but, under Heather Lyke, for basketball, we really, it was all Alliance 412 guys. That's why I told you guys about Alliance 412. Jeff Capel really had no resources. Even going into this year, he had no resources. With Alan Green there and Jay Kuntz, you have a franchisor in terms of, Alan Green being able to raise money, which he's done a great job, tens of millions of dollars he's raised so far, on top of a guy that you just brought in, Jay Kuntz, who is able to find talent. We've seen that so far by the recruiting class he's brought in with the freshman class. He's not going to go anywhere, guys. And I think that, from my understanding, from talking to numerous sources in the organization, outside the organization, I would say resource-wise, in terms of NIL before revenue sharing, and before Alan Green, I would say we were only in front of Boston College. That's it for basketball. I'm just being honest with you guys. That's a reality of the situation that Jeff Capel dealt with. And again, don't get me wrong. Jeff Capel, it needs a lot of work on game day coaching. There's just, I'm not a basketball guy, but I can watch it and say, okay, it looks like nobody knows what the hell they're doing. But I can tell you that there's an understanding that now that Alan Green's here, our resources, especially going into this season for football, it changed dramatically with revenue share, plus the donations that he brought in just in general with the fundraising. You guys don't understand, like, Alan Green being here and being hired and letting go of Heather Lyke was a massive, massive move. So on the other end, I won't go down too much of it, but give some basketball a little bit of slack. Let's see here. There's some other stuff in here, some comments. Again, if you guys want to get your questions up on the screen, make sure you guys submit a super chat. Let's see here. There we go. Make sure you guys submit a super chat, get it up on the screen, and I'll be able to see it. Let's see here. Yeah, Will, the kicking situation is not a good thing, and I put that as a negative on us. Trey Butowski, from all intents and purposes, from what we've seen, is that he has mono, and I would think he's out for a long period of time. Carpenter is our guy. I don't think there is anybody else. We have Junko. I think Junko's the one with the kickoffs that keeps kicking the ball out of bounds. That is a negative going into this game. Trey was a hell of a kicker. That is a negative going into this game. We need Carpenter to find a way to get back to being the guy that we know he is, because he's a very talented guy. I just think he's hurt, and that's kind of been a problem a little bit. Another super chat here. Thank you, Coffee, for the $20 super chat. Pitt should consider changing their flagship station because the fan coverage is so poor. The coverage you guys give is first class. The fan would rather talk about Tomlinisms rather than cover a winner. That is a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Hold on one second here. There we go. I couldn't agree more with that. They'll talk about the Tomlinisms, and obviously, again, we are in the city of Pittsburgh. The Steelers will always be number one. It's not like we're not. And I tried to explain this to people like the beat writers in West Virginia. They just don't understand that because they're in such a little tiny town. West Virginia is a big state, but has little people. There's not very many people there. There's nothing else to compete with. There's nothing else to do in West Virginia. They should have packed out games. We're competing with the Steelers, which also, too, people have season ticket holders for. The Penguins have season ticket holders. Pitt has season ticket holders. The Pirates have season ticket holders. I mean, you have it across the board. West Virginia, there's nothing to do in West Virginia. Even a state college is a lot different because you're contracting from both sides of the state. That's a reality. But to your point here, Coffee, I agree. I have not been a fan of it. I truly do believe Doran Dickerson does a good job. Bob Pompiani does a good job. Bob is truly just an incredible professional. Doran has really done a good job. I even think Adam Crowley does a good job the majority of the time. I think he actually does. That morning show with them is pretty good. But besides that, yeah, I agree. I'm not exactly a huge fan of the station. And I've said before too, they need to ditch it as well. That is my personal opinion as well. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Again, guys, if you want to get your super chat up on here, make sure you guys do so. Damn, this thing's giving me a hard time tonight. Go ahead and put your super chat in, and we'll go from there. In terms of a score prediction, guys, I'm giving you guys the players to watch. Let's see here. I'm giving you guys the players to watch on both sides of the football. And we go into this last game, guys, and here's my honest opinion. I don't think this will be a blowout either way. I think that you watch the last games. If you watch tape on the last 4, Miami football games, you watch the last 4 games of Pitt, you really see this is going to be a tight game, in my opinion. That is my honest opinion. I think that the problem, I think that I get a little concerned about is that I think Pitt's going to be able to convert, not field goals, but touchdowns because they need to put up points. Carpenter should be back 110%. People were certainly talked about how well of a football player he is. I think that's a real thing. I can't agree with more of that. He has to get back on track because we need to be able to hit field goals. That's pretty simple. But this game, in my opinion, is going to be a close football game. I really do believe it. I think that this being at home is a major factor. I would have given a lot more of an edge to Miami if this was down in Miami, especially too at Hard Rock Stadium. I would have put a lot of stock into Miami in this football game to win probably by multiple scores in Miami because, one, it's down in their home place. But they're coming to Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a really good environment. It's going to be very cold that day as well. The wind right now is about average. We'll see how they're able to react. Again, kicking in Acrisure Stadium is hard for anybody. We've seen it in the past. I mean, heck, Notre Dame they didn't have to kick any field goals. They kicked one field goal and they missed it. The kicking game in Acrisure, unless you kick here regularly, is extremely hard. But going into this football game, seeing how this team has adjusted, I personally do believe that Cade Bell will make adjustments. Miami's going to get pressure. That is as simple as it gets. They're going to get pressure. But I think that we're going to see the progression of this football team on offense and how it adjusts. I also think with our defense being back very healthy, where they have everybody back besides Sean Fitzsimmons, that's a massive factor to my decision. So, guys, I think in terms of my score prediction, I got Pitt winning this football game 34-31. Pitt goes to 9-3. Miami will be 9-3. Miami will drop in the rankings. I still think there's a potential they do get in the playoffs because it is a ranked loss. But I do believe Pitt will win this football game. I really do. I think when you watch the film, we're a lot healthier. If we weren't as healthy, number one, if it was down in Miami, I would put it the other way. And probably if it was in Miami, even with the team right now, I'd probably say Miami would win, I'd probably say 34-24, in my opinion, even 34-21. But this game's up here. I think it's a massive factor. It's a little bit of difference. Also, us being healthy, besides the kicking and besides Sean Fitzsimmons being out, I do like our chances on the defensive side of the football. We played extremely well against Notre Dame. The pick six, obviously we can't give up points there. The Pitt defense only gave up 21 points to Notre Dame. I think that this offense, just because of how they have a lot more balanced attack. CJ Carr had 2 turnovers and two interceptions thrown. If Pitt can get pressure on Carson Beck, which I expect there to be pressure, I think they can create some turnovers. But I think Malachi Toney's going to be able to have a couple spots here and there where he gets wiggle room and he's able to score a couple touchdowns. Just where we give up that normal play where there's one big play we usually give up every game. I think Malachi Toney's going to get one of those. I think it'll be a higher scoring football game than people think. I think that Pitt wins this game 34-31. it's going to be a damn good football game. And I'm excited for this game. It's going to be fun to watch going forward. Coffee with another super chat here. This is the furthest they have traveled. I also agree. It's another factor. Again, it's away. Furthest they traveled all year. Coming up north. I do believe it's on the road. So it's going to be a little bit different, And again, we've won in Miami before. Obviously, they've come up here when they've been ranked number 2 in the country with Kenny Pickett. We were able to win a game up here. We finished 5-7 that season. We were a 7-4-7 football team. This is a much better football team that was previously there before. Personally, this is a much better Miami team, even from that number 2 team, that Miami team that Mark Richt coached. What was that in 2019? Was it 2018, 2019, something like that? This is going to be a good football game, guys. I do believe that. And I think that both of these teams, Miami and Pitt, are viewing this as a playoff game. That is my honest opinion. They're viewing it as a football game, but more importantly, as a playoff game. Miami, all they have to do is win this football game, and I think they're in the playoffs. That's my personal opinion. They've got a strong rapport. I think they got a strong record. They got a strong schedule, in my opinion. That's just how they've been playing. I think it's all there for the taking. Even if they don't make the AC championship game, I do believe they win this football game with the current standings. They're in the playoff. That's my opinion. Especially with some potential upsets down the road here from other conferences. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Let's go here to some of the comments here. Some more comments coming through. Yeah, Adam, you'll see. I talked to him. I'm not going to say anything. You'll see it when it comes out, regardless, and that time will be coming, and he'll do it in due time. So get ready for that. But he is truly excited about Pitt. I can tell you that, especially in terms of our development too. Let me see some other comments here if I can see any. All right, I don't see any more. Wait, there's another super chat here, I think, or no? Nope, no other super chats. All right, I don't see any other super chats in here, guys. That's the score prediction, 34-31. Guys, I'll be able to make sure I send you guys a link during the week. I'll be joining another podcast here later on this week. If I can give you guys the name right now, let me go into my schedule here. I'll actually give you the name of the let's see here. See if I can find his podcast here so you guys can follow. Here we go. The Coach Coop is his name. He's on here. Let me see if I can find his. Let me see if I can find his name of his podcast here so I can show it to you guys. Crazy Canes fan. So it is called Coach Coop. Coach Coop, all one word. It's a Miami podcast. I will be jumping on that later this week. He does a really good job. A big time podcast. It'll certainly be a lot of fun. I'll actually share my screen with you guys here to show you the show that will be going on later this week. We'll see obviously with the holidays and stuff like that. We'll see which day it is. But I will certainly be going on there. Coach Coop, if you haven't done so, make sure you guys take a look at him, give him a follow. We'll be hopping on there, having a great discussion. Excited to talk to a lot of Miami faithful here and seeing what their thoughts are about their football team, getting more adjusted to them. I see Miami as a damn good football team. I see Miami as a playoff team right now. And this will be truly interesting, but that's going to be the podcast I'll be on later on this week. So make sure you guys tune in. Guys, this has been another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. Cannot thank you guys enough. I'll say it again here. If you've not done so, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button down below, and it's free, guys. So don't be a hoe. Share the show. It's that simple. Again, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. Thank you. Pitt will win this game 34-31, in my opinion. Guys, now and forever, hail to Pitt. I'll see you guys next time.